Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have the latest from the UKV, run through the longer range charts looking at the conditions over the next couple of weeks, as it is looking very changeable for the second half of July. We are going to see some warmer days, we are going to see some cooler days, we are going to see some wetter days, and we are going to see some dry days. One thing that has cropped up in the past 24 hours, or the past few days really, is perhaps some brief warmth over the course of the latter part of this week. Thursday, Friday into the weekend could be warmer at times. Now, in yesterday's video, we saw maybe 25, 26, 27, but the latest UKV we're looking at today is even showing 30 degrees somewhere on Friday, which is pretty remarkable indeed. And it just suggests, again, backing up that point of very changeable conditions, because it looks by Saturday it could be 21 or 22 at best as a cold front does sweep through. As we head right into the extended range, it does look like it is, as I said, going to range changeable with the temperatures, but we are going to perhaps see more of a high pressure influence, which should allow more dry conditions to develop and to dominate, which is a good positive for the summer. Of course, it would be ideal for average to above average temperatures. Again, 25 degrees in the sun is pretty much perfect, but to be honest, I think 20 degrees in the sun is still not too bad. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, to start on the latest UKV, you can see we've got very heavy rain spreading through earlier today with thunderstorms last night, very lively in places, and we did have warnings in force. You can see through the rest of this afternoon into the evening we will have a few thunderstorms around, but we should decay away fairly quickly. And then as we head into Wednesday, you can see it's not too bad. Again, plenty of sunshine, some clouds bubbling up, and a few showers further westwards. However, into Thursday, we could see some more rain pushing in, but because the high pressure across Europe is a little bit stronger now than we anticipated a couple of days ago, it looks like this rain will mostly stay out to the west and not really impact us all too much. You can see bits and bobs of rain coming in from the west, but generally it's just a bit of thicker cloud, nowhere near as heavy as it was a few days ago. But as we enter Friday, you look out in the west, rain. In the south and the east, sunshine, and we're under a little bit of an extension of that Euro high, which has got some very warm air aloft. You see this with the upper temperatures reaching 14, 15 degrees, and during peak summer, the rule of thumb I use is about 15 degrees added on to that. So that just shows you how we could just about nudge 30 degrees because of this very small wedge of warm air. But don't be fooled, it's not a big pattern change, because look into Saturday as a cold front is sweeping in from the west and it's going to give some heavy rain through Saturday afternoon and evening. And you see this emphasised here, pushing all that warm air away, replacing it with average or below average air once again. So temporarily very warm before turning back towards those changeable conditions. If you have a look at those temperatures, you can see this afternoon temperatures peaking around the 20 degree mark into Wednesday. Again, temperatures could get slightly higher, 23, 24. Thursday, again, where we avoid the rain, 25, 26. And then look at Friday, could get up to 30 degrees towards London. Very warm, if not hot, but not lasting too long. And look at Saturday, 21 to 23 at best. So massive changes as we head into the weekend as that cold front does sweep in. Now, if you have a look at the latest GFS, you can see we've got that trough moving through at the moment. That gave the very heavy rain last night. And you see that ridge of high pressure building in through Thursday and Friday. And that could give that very warm conditions for a period of time. You can see the upper air temperatures do spike there before getting swept away by a cold front. As we do progress into the weekend, changeable once again with low pressure trying to come in off the Atlantic, and you can see generally high pressure out to the south, low pressure to the north, and it does look like it, as I said, going to be very, very up and down right towards the end of the run. Again, very warm high pressure to the south, the upper air temperatures up towards the 15 degree mark, but to the north much cooler and much more unsettled. So again, GFS very up and down. Wouldn't be surprised to see more 30 degree days within this, but equally wetter days where we only see the high teens. So yeah, very up and down, really no consistency. If you compare to the latest GM, again, trough moving through last night and through today, high pressure nudging in from the southeast for Friday, bringing up that very warm air for a time. Eventually, low pressure sweeps it away, and you can again see lots of up and down towards the middle to second half of next week, with again the main wind direction coming in from the west. If you compare finally to the ECMWF, again troughs coming in from the south west, high pressure nudging in, bringing that very warm air up from the south for a time. Again, not quite as hot perhaps as the other runs, but eventually it does sweep any of that warm air away and replace it with unsettled, fresher air into next week, as a big trough of low pressure up towards Iceland, just continuing to throw cooler, wetter spells towards our shores. You can see, if we finish off by looking at the ensembles, it is incredibly up and down. Next couple of days around average. Then Friday spikes to low teens, then drops back towards average by the weekend. Again, longer term, end of July, very up and down. Some days below average, some days above average, some very warm runs, some very cool runs, but the cluster, 90% of runs are within a few degrees of average. We're not looking at anything remarkable coming up. You can see, though, precipitation spikes still looks fairly low, and that that is consistent with yesterday's video, where we did see very low precipitation spikes, which is a positive, which could suggest, yes, changeable upper air temperatures, but it could mean that it is generally on the drier side. 2 meter temperatures, very up and down, but mostly high teens to low 20s. You see that spike later this week, maybe high 20s for a time. And if finally we compare to the ECMWF ensembles, very similar, big spike in temperatures for a day or two later this week, where we drop back towards average and maybe even stay below average. Precipitation, though, is slightly higher, which does give the impression to me that we could see a slightly more southerly tracking jet stream here from the ECMWF, indicative by those cooler temperatures and higher precipitation, so more low pressure influence than the GFS ensembles. Hopefully that isn't the case, but if it was, then it would probably be quite a bit worse, cooler and wetter. So yeah, definitely would not be ideal. But perhaps it does look like we could see a real spike of heat, proper day of summer on Friday. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it plays out. But for the time being, yeah, looking pretty decent indeed for Friday. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.